America, America, God shed his grace on thee.
Fuck God. America. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
Woo!
Welcome to the Darker Side Podcast. Wrong answer. This is the Darker Side Podcast, July 4th Mystery Extravaganza Edition.
Hello, everybody. This is David from the Darker Side Podcast. We are coming to you today with a special mini episode.
Very special.
Very special mini episode.
Hell yeah.
The 4th of July.
Mystery.
Extravaganza.
Fuck yeah.
This is Minisode Episode 1. Today, Forrest and I, it's just Forrest and I today. We're sitting here on the 4th of July, you know, having a drink and doing some stuff.
Yeah, doing lots of weird shit.
Just sitting here having conversations, etc. But we're going to have a conversation with you today about, on the 4th of July, the day that we are celebrating our independence.
America.
Fuck yeah. So what Forrest and I are going to have a conversation about today is our fears. Let's celebrate our liberty by talking about the things that hold us back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
The dark fears that we've had in our life and what's holding us back in our life. I think it'd be fun and interesting and where those things came from.
I would love to.
Excellent. Well, let's get into it. So I just have a brief explanation for you if you don't understand what these things mean. Fear is defined as a distressing emotion aroused by impending danger, evil, pain, etc., whether that threat is real or imagined, the feeling or condition of being afraid. On top of that, a phobia, which are other things, that we'll talk about.
Spiders.
Phobia is a persistent, irrational fear of a specific object, activity, or situation that leads to a compelling desire to avoid it. As in, it scares the fucking shit out of you.
Yep.
Your heart races, and you can't stand to be around those things.
Yep.
Phobias.
Fuck yeah. I think I have a Nazi phobia.
Yeah. Quite a few people do. I'm not sure what that phobia is called, but Hitler phobia or something? Who knows? Reich phobia?
Hitler phobia. Oh, it's so bad.
Well, let's start off one of my biggest fears that I've dealt with in life, and it might be silly and it kind of sounds counterproductive, but I've dealt with this fear of succeeding in life. I've always kind of set my bar low for some reason. I have these passions and these dreams, but I guess I don't give myself enough credit.
I feel like
succeed,
that too.
I'm
not gonna lie. I feel like with my age, I feel like sometimes with the way people treat me, when it comes to either work or personal.
Well, it's because of your age, for sure.
I feel like the way some people just talk to me or treat me, I feel like I'm not good enough or I'm not gonna succeed, and that's kind of sometimes, not always, just how I feel.
Well, I've always had this fear of putting myself out there huge, but lately, within the last year or so, with my band, this podcast, and other adventures, that I've been putting myself through, I feel like I'm stepping away from that phobia. Finally, that fear of succeeding. I just
me too, actually.
The thought of succeeding and getting my name recognized by people just was always a thing. Or even if it was a small crowd or a local, I'm still so humble when people tell me that you've done a great job. I'm like, oh, okay, thanks, whatever. You know. I'm like, oh, thanks for the,
You are your own man.
Yeah, I'm just humbling as well. I
am.
But that's always been one of my biggest fears. What was one of yours growing up, or still, or something that's holding you back?
As a big fear, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I would definitely say death. I think I'd say a few weeks ago, I definitely had a rude awakening when I quit my second job, and I learned a lot of things about life. And I would say I'm definitely a little bit more comfortable with the fact that, we're all going to die at some point.
Oh, well, you have to be, or else you just can, I used to be, back when younger, and then one day I was just
yeah.
Wait, we're all going to die. What's the point of fucking worrying about death? Why live your life worrying about death instead of living your life to live your life?
Right.
It seems stupid.
It's just the thing that really helps me with being okay with it as well is like there's so many movies out there, documentaries, scientists,
Right.
facts that prove like there is definitely something that happens when you die with whatever. But once again, the fact of the black hole, stop breathing, all that stuff still gives me like an anxiety attack.
Yeah, of course. But,
But, like-
well, it's like, I mean, like we discussed with our Dr. Kevorkian ones. I mean, like you have to realize that everybody's going to die, whether they want to die or not. Death is an inevitable thing, and it's always going to be. So regardless of that fear or not,
Yeah.
that phobia, you're going to be afraid of death.
Yeah.
Always be afraid. I mean, live your life to the fullest. That's why you should be living your life versus living your life in fear of death.
I think in time,
Because
I'll
we're all
probably
going to do it. We're all there. We're all going to that inevitable
Yep.
whatever,
And
whatever that after is.
And that's the biggest reason why I'm so sick of people worrying about labels and all that stuff. Because like my mom is, I don't want to bring my family in, but I'm just saying like
certain people.
it's like some people expect things from everyone else, and like it's just
So you're saying we worry about the simplistic things in this
We're-
world, in this existence, when we should just be all living our lives
Yeah.
to the fullest and being the best people we possibly can, is what you're saying?
yeah, like we're all going to the same
Yeah.
place. It doesn't matter if
Yeah, we're all bone and dust at the end. You know?
doesn't matter if you have like a Lamborghini, or it doesn't matter if it doesn't matter if you're okay with gay people, all that stuff. Like it doesn't matter, because we're all going to end up in the same place. All we should all do as human beings, especially in America, is be nice to one another, and just don't let stereotypes and labels affect everything else like the mass media does.
Yeah, no, I mean, and we shouldn't be divided, but yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a big part of that. Is a lot of fear-driven emotions in that whole division as well. So, all right, well, I'm gonna jump into one of my actual real phobias that I had growing up, and
Okay.
and it took me a long time to get over this phobia. This fear of lightning.
I can
It
relate.
started one day, I think. Well, I grew up. My younger years were down in North Carolina, so we, frequented tornadoes and severe thunderstorms all the time.
I
every other, especially in the summer, it was like a every other day experience.
Yep.
But my mom told me a story one time that a house she was living in was struck by lightning and it burned. And it fucking made me freak out. Like
Your place?
No, when she was a kid, when she was younger.
Oh my god.
So it got me thinking about, like, well, if lightning struck my house, I'm going to lose all my possessions. I'm going to lose everything.
I'm afraid to
I
take a
could
shower.
possibly die.
I'm afraid to take a shower during a
So
thunderstorm.
for the longest time, I was just so afraid. And, like, when I was a teenager, like a big, tough football playing teenager,
Yeah.
when a thunderstorm would happen, I would literally lose my mind. I'd have this panic attack, and I'd either have to go into the basement where I couldn't see the flashes of lightning and hear the thunder,
Yeah.
or I'd have to put my headphones on,
Yeah.
or I would sit down with all the windows shut and closed, and my sister at the time would read to me.
Wow.
Had a horrible fear and phobia of it, like debilitating.
I don't blame you, because
And I would go in a massive panic attack every time,
oh man.
and my heart would race, and it would take forever to come down after that.
Oh
But,
jeez.
eventually, probably like maybe close to 8 years ago, I just started, there's a thunderstorm, go stand outside, or at least watch it from the door and experience it, and
Kind of get
not be afraid. And like exposure therapy
Get out of
forced
your
on by
comfort
myself,
zone.
because I got so sick of fucking being afraid of them every time
Yep.
one came around.
That's
I'm like forced, and then I nowadays I'll actually go outside during one and sit under the awning,
Yep.
the metal awning outside of my house.
yep.
But it was very hard. That was from like maybe like my tweens to my 30s, like through
Yeah.
my through up to 30, 31, 32 years old.
Okay.
So a huge portion of my life with
Right.
that stupid irrational fear. Again, and I think it had something to do with my fear of death as well.
Yep.
If I'm going to get struck by lightning and die, then, or my house, or it's going to happen. I don't
Right.
know. No control over it.
Although I have to say, over the last few years, stories that are coming out, people getting hit by lightning, almost all of them survive
Yeah.
somehow.
No. I saw this video online of this guy getting struck twice in the like 2 minutes. Yeah.
Fucking A. That must make you like brain damage or something. Because I mean, all that electricity from nature.
Who knows, dude? It's fucking crazy. But now, No, so that was one of my really horrible, debilitating phobias. Did you have a phobia, like a real phobia, like something that you just couldn't move, or just struck you, like as a growing up or anything like that?
Yeah. I used to have a major fear of, just like you, like severe thunderstorms, tornadoes, because South Jersey.
Well, you lived in the South Jersey too. I mean, they have really bad weather.
It's way more. The thunderstorms are way more intense than
No,
out
was it
here.
just like an experiential type of thing where, like, just through experiencing these severe thunderstorms, they gave you the fear? There was no like stories or anything behind it.
Yeah, well, once again, like, it's mainly because, like, I've seen movies and all those Twister movies.
When you saw Twister,
People's
yeah.
houses getting freaking wrecked and they're getting sucked up.
Well, I mean, we do come up with these fears on our own, or they're either implanted or subconsciously, or they're just things that we grab from watching movies and stuff. Like,
my town gets tornadoes too. My dad's town does,
Yep.
and the towns around it, because they're all cornfields and whatnot. And
Right.
it's all just this middle of nowhere, and that's how South Jersey is. And we're right near the Delaware River, so, like, it's like you're asking to get the worst possible type of thunderstorm usually every time we get hit.
Right.
And when I'd come home from school, my parents would be at work, so it's just either me home alone or it's my sisters with me. And whenever we get a thunderstorm, most of the time, every other time, we get, like, those emergency alerts on our TV.
Yeah.
Like, it just stops
Burp,
everything.
burp,
Yeah.
burp,
And-
burp. But it's more annoying. It's like, and then
Yeah.
like it'll be like, severe thunderstorm warning for your area. Watch out, potential hail and potential possible tornado.
And if a tornado
Yeah,
touches
exactly.
down, it does that. And
Yeah, I've seen those so many times. If that's like before they had the Weather Channel, where people could literally go to their phone and look up the radar.
It's insane. And because DuPont was like a town over, so we had sirens that we used either for whatever.
I've heard so many
chemical
when we were
plant
down in
and-
North Carolina, the sirens.
And
Yeah.
our town, that also gave into it. Like, our town had the sirens, so they would blow it off whenever a tornado touched down. And
Right.
it was like, I kind of grew to be okay with it now,
Right.
kind of, because
You kind of have to. You have to realize that there's no way we control anything that the weather does.
Yep. It only happens like once or twice a year anyway, so it's...
This other weird, and it's more like darker side-ish. I've had this weird phobia, and I have this weird subconscious inclination that, one, I'm afraid of being abducted by aliens. I am absolutely 100% afraid, but I have this weird sneaking suspicion that I have been abducted by aliens.
Dude, that's how I feel. I feel like I have been once.
I've had these weird experiences where I would have these crazy nightmares repeated over and over again.
Yep.
And then I would have this weird dread and feeling when I'd wake up, like there was something in the room staring at me.
At the end of your bed or something. I've
Exactly.
felt something like that.
And I've had like shadow people or grays or somebody just staring at me, like this weird feeling. And then like when I'd like either be driving alone through the woods by myself, I would get these horrible feelings again of being watched. I don't know. That's just my personal experience. So, and I've had this weird fear my whole life. It's not like debilitating, or but it does still creep in every once in a while when I listen to stories about different people's abductions and like feelings that they've had.
I'm not gonna lie. I definitely have had some weird experiences. I feel like I have, like, in a way, been taken out of my sleeping position and go somewhere else.
That could also just be REM sleep and dreaming as well.
It could be.
Yeah,
It could be
or-
astro projections. It could be so many different things.
But that's, I did meditate once. Speaking of astral projections, I did go someplace, and that's where I met my spirit animal.
I believe in astro projection.
And I was like I was into meditation, and at that point, I did astral project.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird.
Fuck it,
I met my spirit animal.
Oh my god!
So now I know what my spirit animal is now. But
It's crazy.
Yeah. So that's always been a crazy fear of mine, like that type of fear. And it's still to this day. I mean, that's why I think I'm so interested in alien abduction stories. And
Me too.
Really, really, really something that I
The truth is out there.
feel like I can relate to some of these people's stories and experiences. So it shouldn't be a fear. Maybe it's a blessing. Who knows? But again, it's just this feeling. It's not I don't know physically or whether it's actually happened.
It's scary though. It's scary because you don't know, and Yeah.
And again, we're being really honest here, and these are fears and thoughts that I've had most of my life. So
Yep, I agree. Me too.
But I mean, because I experienced my first UFO
crazy.
experience when I was a child,
Wow.
like a child, like 5 years old.
I did see the the Phoenix lights when it was like blazing, like I guess like in the 90s at some point. It was a big deal, and then it stopped. Everyone just stopped talking about it after like a year or something.
But I mean, I'm talking like 1986 in North Carolina, my first experience.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
dude.
So it was like ever since then, I've been interested in UFOs. I've seen multiples,
Oh my
as
God.
we've talked about here on the darker side every once in a while. But yeah, I've had those experiences.
And if you watched the Fourth Kind with Mila Jovovich,
Yeah, dude, it was that was a rough movie to watch because like it was
it was well made.
really
It
it was definitely a docudrama
yeah.
based on. I mean, there was definitely dramatized, but that real footage that
If
they had was fucking crazy. to
People
watch.
say that footage was actually fake, but actually, if you do more research, all you have to do is watch the credits, and they have a whole production team for buying the video.
Yeah.
Now that makes absolutely no sense, but I mean, to buy video that is probably owned by NASA or the FBI, to get that kind of footage, it costs a shitload of money.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And if you watch the credits too, they play audio of actual recordings of people calling in, and it tells you what city or town.
Yeah.
And I believe don't quote me, it's like 85 or 87, someone called from Webster Lake.
Oh yeah,
Right down the road
dude,
from
like,
here.
You and I had an experience outside these doors, 10 feet away.
Yep.
I think it was last summer before we decided that we were going to do the Todd podcast when we first discussed it. We had a UFO experience right out here,
Yep.
right outside our house.
I can't believe
Unexplainable. It was completely unexplainable.
it was there, and then just
Gone.
yeah. And this really ties into my fear as well when it comes to that new Space Force we're getting that's going to cost like whatever $1 trillion. Like, if America goes up there, because America fucks everything up, if there is alien life force out there, which I believe there is, if we fuck with them, they're going. My biggest fear is they're going to end Earth. And
It's a pretty rational but irrational fear as well. It's real. It could. I mean, if you believe in the extraterrestrial phenomenon, the ETs, and you believe that there are aliens out there and they do have the capability of destroying us, then
They're
something that could be a fear of, absolutely.
because they're smart enough to keep us alive now. I mean, if we
Yeah, I mean, we're all their slaves anyway. They're the ones who are running the world's bank, and they've got us all under control and fighting each other. It's either the world's bank or who are the Rockefellers, which I think are reptiles anyway.
Yep.
or
Reptilians.
either way, I think it's aliens, and they're just fucking with us and keeping us as slaves with slave labor and
America, fuck yeah.
Yeah. But, this also, I also wanted to discuss, like, when we're younger, we watch these, like, scary films.
Horror films.
Yeah, when we really shouldn't have,
Dunno.
where we really shouldn't have watched the film.
Dunno.
And then, so when I was really young, my dad and my uncle brought me, my brother, I think it was just 4 of us,
Yeah.
me, my brother, and my 2 cousins, to go see the Gremlins. Now, I was like 4 or 5 years old.
I've never seen that movie.
The original Gremlins?
Nope.
Oh my god! Dude.
I know it's in like a horror comedy or something.
Yeah, it's dude, just watch it.
It's just weird.
It's great. It's great. But forever, literally till I was like maybe 17 or 18 years old, I still could not walk alone up a hill in the dark by myself because I thought that there were gremlins.
Oh my
chasing
god,
me.
those things are creepy. I've seen them.
Just watching that
I don't-
movie, and it's so funny. They're so stupid now that I watch them as an adult, and I'm like, it's so ridiculous. Like my son's not even. He's 5, and he's not even afraid of them. And I'm like, God.
That's how
What was I thinking though? Because like I always thought that there was just something there. Like, and it could go back to my alien phobia where I always feel like something's watching me or if we're behind me.
I feel the same way though.
Yeah. So was there ever any like movie that you saw when you were a kid that just made you just have a fear of something for the rest of your life?
Hell yeah.
Or for a short period of time, at least enough to affect it.
I'd have to start with something really cheesy, but I'd say Final Destination.
Oh yeah, because you were young when that first came out.
The first one I believe came out in like 98, 99 with the airplane crash,
Right.
and
So you were like 5 or 6 when you first saw it, right?
like 9, I think.
Oh, so a little
Little
older.
late.
Yeah.
And I saw like the first like the beginning part is so long compared to all the other ones.
Yeah.
It's like a half hour long.
Well, I
and
think
it's
that
just-
first one is the greatest in my opinion.
It's one of the best ones
Yeah.
for sure. I like the third one too, but it's just beginning. It's just it made me scared of flying. Same with the roller coaster one. Even though I go on roller coasters every year, I was just so scared. Even on the highway, like the second one, me and my dad just going on the highway with my family. I was just
I
so
will every time I drive up behind like a logging truck or something. Like I'm like, no, final destination. I got to speed up around that thing. You know? Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those simple fears. You're like, nope, this ain't gonna happen. I'm not gonna get a friggin' giant log smashing my face into my back seat. Yeah, no thanks.
And do I know what would help me get over these things? I'd watch the special features.
Yeah.
And they would like go over, like, for example, on the highway with the I didn't see the first one on how they did it, but the second one I saw how they did it, and they show you a projection of what it would really look like if logs on a truck like that were really going to come off.
And
it would just
well, they would go to the side and buckle over.
yeah, it won't go flying and jumping and go right through a fucking police car.
No, but I mean, they had to dramatize it up. So
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I can't. There were a few other movies that I watched that scared the shit out of me as a kid. Like,
Oh yeah.
Child's Play. I saw that movie.
Oh god, that movie scared the shit out of me.
The Never-Ending Story. Do you ever see that movie?
No.
Oh, you definitely. It's another classic. Well, it's an
Really?
'80s classic, but the darkness is this like dark dog figure
Yeah.
in the movie, and it's just causing this imaginary land
Mm-hmm.
to just die and deteriorate. And
Oh man.
but it was like just the darkness itself. That's what it was called. It was called The Darkness, and it scared the shit out of me for years.
Shit, man.
Yeah, and then again, watching it as an adult, I'm like, oh, God.
Did you see it?
There's just these weird fears that you hold on to.
Yeah, I definitely the one movie that really gave me the heebie-jeebies for sure at the time that I watched it was the Blair Witch Project.
Yeah, you were probably, again, young when
That-
that movie came out.
That movie, like, my dad, he tried to like make it, he tried to tell me it was a real movie at first. So when we watched it, I just was like, what the fuck is this shit?
Yeah. I think me, Herman, and our other friend John went to go see that in the theaters. I think we were 17, 18 years old. We got a little
You saw it in theaters?
stiz-zoned. We got a little
Wait, you saw-
420'd up.
you saw
Yeah,
it
we
in
saw this in
theaters?
the theaters, but
No
we were
fucking way.
in the front row, so the experience was horrible. Because it was like, it gave us a headache, and
Well,
I think, again,
well-
we were also very stoned when we saw it.
Well, they filmed it with like one of those DV tape cameras that look
Yeah.
like shit.
So we were up front, and it was just giving us seizures and shit, and like making us sick and want to throw up. So, but the movie did scare the shit out of me. So
Oh, I think that's your wife.
absolutely,
That's the wifey.
yeah. But yeah, man. So that's basically our episode on fears.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah, dude. Thank you again for our first Darker Side minisode.
Thank you, guys.
The fear episode, and again, guys, you know where to find all of us. I'm David Pottle on Facebook, etc. You can find my band in front of me on there, which we got some shows coming up in Worcester, Massachusetts. One of them with Puddle of Mud.
Hell
so,
yeah.
check it out, guys. At this time, actually, let's have Forrest give his deets first.
Okay.
Where can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook, Forrest Smith. You can with 2 R's. You can find me on Forrest. I think it's Forrest G Media. I
Yep.
just renamed it to Forrest G Media. That's my video production company on Facebook. You can find our podcast page on almost anything now: Spotify, Patreon, Google Play, Podbean.
Yep.
All that good stuff. Instagram, Twitter.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
All
and-
the social medias.
Hell yeah.
And podcast things. And also, please just rate and review our podcast, please, on
Please.
whatever iTunes and Google Play would probably be the most beneficial.
Please.
So at this time, guys, what we want to do is we want to give you guys some big news.
Huge news.
We are now the D.C.P network, where we have a
Yep.
network. We are going to be branching off. We have our second podcast that's going to be a part of this network.
Fuck yeah.
We wanted to let you guys know that our beloved Forrest is going to have his own podcast, and the beloved segment that we've had on the Darker Side for so long, Getting Lost in the Forest, is now going to be its own podcast.
Yep.
With Forrest doing his thing,
Glit.
giving you, his rants and his passion. Maybe once a week, twice a week,
We'll see.
whenever he's feeling it. I think it's going to be Getting Lost in the Forest, like the segment.
Glit F.
Yeah, Glitef. But so that segment will no longer be part of the Darker Side podcast because he has his own podcast now.
Hell yeah.
And you guys look out for the D.C.P network page and the Getting Lost in the Forest podcast
Hell yeah.
page.
That'll be coming up soon.
Yeah, we're going to be getting excited. Those episodes, he'll probably be punching out a couple of them very soon, so you guys can get on that train.
Very soon.
All right, guys, well, we're going to thank you again for coming back to the Darker Side podcast, Minnesota 1.
Thank you, guys.
Peace and love, everybody.
Peace and love, guys.
And remember, we all got our fears.
Yep.
Embrace them.
Hell yeah. We're all different, too.
One love, one life.
Darker Side.
Let's get together and Darker Side.